Hey BookTube, Chelsea the Reading Outlaw back in the craft room at work. This was another one of those pre-recorded videos I had where the file got all corrupted and messed up, so I'm refilming. And yeah, so I am here to give you guys my September TBR. We are a couple of days into the month. August was a super busy reading month for me, so in September I'm kind of planning on chilling it out a little bit, finishing up some stuff that I have from August, getting through a couple big books in September, again, kind of just taking a breath, and just kind of taking a month after the craziness that was August. So I will start with the books that are kind of carryovers that I've already been reading. The first is Dead House Gates by Steven Erikson. This is the second in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. Those of you who have been watching my channel for any amount of time know that I have been reading this series for a couple months now, specifically this book for at least a month, if not longer than that. I am, I would say maybe like 2/3 of the way through, give or take. And it's a little bit of a hard book for me because it's hard to dip in and out of. The way that it's written and the way that Steven Erikson does his like character revelations and his plot details and stuff are very slow, and you have to pay attention or you're gonna miss it. This is not like one of those books you can just like flip through and like partially read and partially do something else. And because of that, it's kind of gotten put to the back burner for some books that are kind of more like that and are a little bit easier to read just in terms of pacing. And so I'm getting through this one now this month as quick as I can, because I've heard that after Gardens of the Moon and Dead House Gates, the series really starts to pick up, and that those two books are kind of like foundational books for the series. And once you get through them, the rest of the books become a lot easier to understand. Hopefully that's true. I'm going to give it to at least the third or fourth book before I make my final decision. So I will be wrapping up Dead House Gates this month. Along the same vein of big books that I just can't seem to finish, I will also finally be finishing The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. You guys have seen this book, sans Dust Jacket, on my channel almost every week for a couple months now, because it's a biggin. I am right here. I'm hoping to get through this little chunk the rest of the day today, and then we shall see how I do over the weekend. But I'm really just wanting to finish this one up. I'm really enjoying one of the three characters, enjoying kind of another character, and then there's one character that I'm just bored by. He just bores me. Dalinar, I just don't even care. I like Kaladin and I really like Shallan, but yeah, Dalinar, I don't. Maybe it gets better, but I'm not feeling it at the moment. But I want to finish this as quickly as I can, because then I have this behemoth on the TBR for September. And unlike Way of Kings, which is shorter, I would really like to get through this book all actually in this month. Words of Radiance, I believe last time I checked was like at 1,100 pages, just short of 1,100 pages. Yeah, 1,087 pages, and that includes like the Ars Arcanum at the end. But yeah, 1,000 pages in a month, and it won't even be the only thing I'm reading. This one scares me a little bit, guys. It scares me just a wee bit. It's a biggin. But if I do manage to get through both of those, there are some shorter books I guess 3 of those. I say both because my brain is so like focusing on the Stormlight Archives, because both of those books are so fucking huge, like that they're eclipsing everything else in my reading brain. But if I finish all 3 of those books, there are some shorter books I want to get to. One of them is the first in the Burton and Swinburne series by Mark Hodder. See, I can't even speak. Mark Hodder. And this is called The Strange Affair of Spring Hill Jack. And I heard about these books from Caitlin over at Kitty G, whose channel I will link below. And this book basically is in like a steampunky 18th century London and it stars Sir Richard Burton and Algernon Charles Swinburne, a promising young poet, a thrill seeker, and a follower of the Marquis de Sade. So sign me up. Plus, I don't know how like much detail you can see on that cover, but that guy is kind of like scaring the shit out of me. Like, that's pretty creepy. And I did kind of get a little bit of a head start on this. I just thought it looked really interesting and I picked it up. And so I'm like 50 pages into it, and Spring Heel Jack has actually just arrived. Although we don't actually know that's his name yet, based on his description. He matches this guy on the cover. So, and he has spring heels. He walks on spring-loaded stilts. So I'm guessing that's Spring Heel Jack. And he basically just showed up and told Sir Richard Francis Burton to leave him the fuck alone. And Richard Francis Burton is like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I don't even know who you are. So clearly there's some backstory there that I'm really excited to get to. This is one of the shorter ones on the agenda. Also, some of the shorter books on the pile are the BookTube SFF books. I don't think I mentioned it when I held it up, but Words of Radiance is one of the BookTube SFF books for the month of September. It's the biggest book for all of BookTube SFF. So there's that, but also this month I will be attempting a reread of Cress, which is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles. I read Cinder and Scarlet a couple years ago, shortly after I got the job at the library, and was not crazy about them. I did like Cinder more than I like Scarlet, but in general, I was not super impressed with the series, but I've heard Cress is better than both of the first two, so I will be reading that. I will not be reading the third volume of Saga because I've already read it, but I will be reading The Strange Library by Haruki Murakami, which I wish I had to show you because it's a really interesting like physical article. I'll link to James Chatham's channel down below. He recently did a book haul in his September TBR, and he actually shows you like the physical object of The Strange Library that's just super, super interesting. I think that's all because I already read The Meeker and the All-Seeing Eye, which is the short story that I talked about in my wrap-up that I linked to at Clark's World. I'll try and remember to link to it again in this video. And yeah, I think that about covers it up. Words of Radiance, Saga, Meeker and the All-Seeing Eye, The Strange Library, and Cress. BookTube SFF people who watch this video, let me know if I missed one, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I will be reading all the BookTube SFF books this month. And lastly, on my Kindle, I am currently reading Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Yes, I'm jumping on the Robin Hobb bandwagon. If you've been watching any of the BookTube videos from some of like the major BookTube SFF community people, Robin Hobb has been going around like wildfire. Everything from the Rain Wilds Chronicles to the Live Ship Traders to the Farseer books. And I am just super, super excited to keep going. I'm about halfway done now with the first one. And I'm still, like, I'm loving it, but I'm still kind of trying to suss out my thoughts on it. So I won't say too much more now. But I will be finishing that up in September. And hopefully, depending on how the rest of this goes, moving on to the second one, which I believe is Royal Assassin, I think is the second one. But I'd have to double check, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, that about wraps up my September TBR. It's not very big, but at the same time, it's absolutely fucking huge. So wish me luck. As always, comment down below to let me know which of these you've read or which of these you are hoping to get to sometime in the future. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys around the internet. Bye.